Hang on, isn't iced coffee and cold brew basically just the same thing? Well, not exactly. Hi, I'm Luke and welcome back to the Espresso Insiders YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the differences between iced coffee and cold brew. Now, on the face of it, these seem like pretty similar drinks, but actually there's a number of key differences between them, which I'm going to walk you through in this video. So let's start with an iced coffee. It's pretty straightforward to make. It's made with a double shot of espresso, a handful of ice, and maybe some milk if you want that as well. Cold brew, on the other hand, is a lot more labour intensive. You're leaving coarsely ground coffee beans in water overnight to steep in the fridge. The reason cold brew takes so much longer to make is because you're extracting the coffee beans with just cold water and time. There's no pressure or heat added to this, so that's why it takes so long to make. The result is two very similar looking drinks, but they're actually very different in terms of their substance and their taste. In terms of flavour, cold brew coffee tends to be a lot more mellow and earthy than iced coffee, which actually tends to be a lot more brighter and acidic with a lot more distinctive flavours maintained. The difference in extraction time between these two also makes a big difference to the grind size, the caffeine concentration, and the actual coffee beans you use to make both of them together. The coarse coffee grounds used for cold brew release their coffee oils slowly over time, whereas the double shot of espresso used for iced coffee calls for a much finer grind size because of its much quicker and more intense extraction. This also makes iced coffee a lot more acidic than cold brew, whereas cold brew actually has a lot more caffeine, so pick your poison between the two. In terms of serving and storage, iced coffee should pretty much be served immediately, so you maintain the potency of that double shot of espresso. On the other hand, cold brew coffee can be stored up to a week in the fridge because it takes a lot longer to brew and then also therefore lasts a lot longer. In terms of the coffee beans used for these two drinks, there's also a difference there. For both of them, I would recommend using a medium to dark roasted coffee bean, just so that it stands up to the creaminess of the milk you're going to be using. Think about the flavours you're going to use as well. They're going to want to pair well with milk and potentially some sweet syrups that you might use. So opting for flavours like chocolate, caramel or nuts are probably going to be preferable over winey tasting notes or flavours that are fruity or even floral. In terms of acidity, I'd rather go for a higher acidity for iced coffee than cold brew. Cold brew, you really don't want to have too much acid in the coffee beans. In terms of the freshness of the coffee beans, for me, I'd rather use fresher coffee beans for iced coffee, whereas for cold brew, the freshness isn't quite so much of a factor. What you've got to remember is they're going to be sitting in the fridge for 12 to 24 hours, so any of those delicate tasting notes or the freshness of the coffee or the acidity that might be present in some freshly roasted coffee beans will most likely be gone by the time you actually get to drink it. So don't bother wasting your Sunday best on cold brew coffee. Anything that's relatively low in acidity, such as a dark roasted coffee, will work really well for cold brew. You can get specific cold brew coffee beans and these are definitely worth a try, but to be honest, just using something that is going to be low in acidity, it's medium to dark roast and will stand up nicely to milk will do the job. So those are the key differences between iced coffee and cold brew, so you know exactly what you're doing the next time you order one. With that being said, let me know in the comments which of these two cold coffee drinks you prefer, and if you want to see the full written version of this topic, check it out at espressoinsiders.com. Thanks for watching, like, share and subscribe.